And our first speaker, I'd like to introduce Sheridan Hall to do a reading.
I think Sheridan is still trying to get in, so I'm helping her with that. Sorry about that.
Oh, no
Um,
problem.
so we'll go on to the next, and then when Sheridan gets in, she'll just slide right in. Will that work?
Sure can.
Okay, I didn't see any responses, so I'm just going to assume it does. So my name is Ebony Williams. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And I'm an associate director in the Academic Success Center. And I'm so happy to be here with you all today and to have the opportunity to introduce our newest dean on campus, Dean Shannon Matthews. Dr. Matthews, thank you so much for being here. And please join me in a virtual round of applause as we welcome Dean Matthews.
Thank you so much. I have decided to write a letter to my younger self, and it is regarding risk and failures. I want you to know there is value in taking risk and learning from failures across life's journey. Risk and failures are a vital part of the human experience. It may not be easy at times to embrace risk or even value failures, but these will often lead to your greatest personal and professional growth and rewards. When thinking about risk, embrace the times when you are able to use data to mitigate the level of risk and take a calculated decision. But with that said, please don't be afraid, so afraid that when you cannot see all the variables and there is simply not enough information, that you are not willing to trust God and yourself enough to take a giant leap of faith. Like the risk in having the audacity to apply and get in and ultimately go to a highly selective college you are not quite sure you're ready for. But this will lead to you becoming the catalyst for your family to seek new opportunities, and later lead to even your brother and sister seeking their own doctorate degrees, and your mother doing an evening weekend program to do a bachelor's and even a master's degree. Or like the risk of taking a job clear across the country right after the start of the new year in the midst of COVID, because the challenge and your potential impact are far more important than any complacency. These will be risks among many that are worth taking. With regard to failure, just know it will occur. It's not a matter of if, it's simply a matter of when. How you respond to failures when it happens is where your true growth will be determined. So when a failure occurs, just simply know self-reflection is key. Acknowledge when the failure happens, seek out, if you can, what the root causes were, and ultimately try to learn so you don't repeat the same failure again. Never allow failure to cause you to doubt your purpose, though. Never allow it to stop you trying new approaches or seeking out new opportunities, or even just trying to do something different. It just might be through failure that you get the push you need to achieve a greater depth of growth or acquire new skills for the next part of your journey. Like horribly failing Dr. Todd's organic chemistry class as an undergraduate, and then taking it again to try and achieve a passing grade. You proved to yourself and others that it was more about exposure and discipline, and maybe just a little bit about focus, than it was about more than it was about an innate ability, or as the instructor tried to convince you, an innate inability of students of color or women. Later, the lab skills you cement in retaking the course will strengthen your readiness for graduate school research. Or like, the failure you fail when you walk out of your first graduate school class because the instructor thought the liberal use of the N-word in pre-selected passages for the class to read out loud was the best way to intimidate you as the only Black face in the class. This ultimately leads to you working with the director of graduate studies and even that instructor to change the perception of students who look like you. And you even later become the first Black Collier Fellow in a PhD program at that same institution. If not for that, what seemed like a failure at first, you would not have cultivated the inner strength needed later as you emerge as a Black female leader. Or like a more recent failure, when that occurs when despite attempts to help an institution and implement some mandatory initiatives, you receive an anonymous death threat in the mail. It's just your first year in leadership there. You're kind of shocked, but it is that very threat that suggests to some you failed, but to you it leads to a renewed sense of purpose, a deep understanding of the courage sometimes leaders need, and an opportunity to cultivate a new sense of community. This ultimately is an unexpected reminder that you have the same resilience that resided in your ancestors residing in you. So no, risk and failures, whether big or small, will add up to working together for your good. And when they occur, there is a purpose in the struggle to embrace them along the way. Risk and failures may just be the very ingredient needed at moments in your life to push you and propel you to the growth and depth of character you'll need for the next part of the journey. So remember to take risk and even embrace failures along the way. Life is short, but all of the parts of the journey matter. So enjoy the ride. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dean Matthews, for your message and your story. Hello, everyone. My name is Cindy Vallejo. I am the Associate Director for the Office of Student Life. My gender pronouns are she, her, hers, ella. I have the lovely pleasure of introducing our next speaker, Stephanie Hancock. Stephanie Hancock earned her Bachelor's of Science in Organizational Management at the University of Laverne. She is an awesome alumni. She serves as the Secretary of our ULV Alumni Advisory Board. And please welcome Stephanie Hancock.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited and honored to be here. And thank you so much for your wonderful opening words, Dean Matthews. That was beautiful. So my story, we're all here because we have a story. And the wonderful thing about our stories is that they're unique to us. And so my story just is about perseverance and how, just like as Dean Matthews spoke about failures, you just persevere and how you manage through that. So just like everybody else in life, we have obstacles and challenges and disadvantages and things of that nature. So growing up, I was always, I was the smallest kid. I was the youngest kid, the little sister. My parents were divorced. I was raised by a single mom. The only minority in so many instances, you name it, there are disadvantages. But one disadvantage that I've learned to make my advantage is my height. I am vertically challenged. I am 5'3". But the thing about my height and my stature is, like, anybody knows, if you share this with me, that you learn to leverage. You learn how to make yourself big in whatever instance you pretty much need to, and you don't really have to rely on other people. You just figure it out. But I've learned to leverage myself in so many different instances in my life. When I was a younger kid, I wasn't very athletic, but I loved to play games. One of the games in particular that I learned how to play was basketball, and our teacher, our PE teacher, she did a great job of instructing us. But there was this one little move that she taught us, which was pivoting. And it's just small. It's very small. You can move to the left, to the right. You can shoot, or you can pass to a teammate. The things I learned, I had no idea that learning that one small move, and it came to my advantage because of my stature. It was easy for me to do. But I didn't realize how much learning how to pivot it would help me throughout my life. I always had the goal of going to college, but when I graduated from high school back in the 80s, you didn't really have to go to college. So I chose a different path. I traveled. That was my education. I went all around the world, a lot of places by myself, and that was what I wanted to do. But I'm a lifelong learner, just like, most of us are, all of us are at ULV. I'm a lifelong learner. And I just had this desire to go and to get my degree, to earn my degree. But fast forward, I was a mom, I was married, I had a special needs child, I still have a special needs child, all of these different things and all of the reasons why people tell you you can't and you shouldn't do this. I heard everything, but I still wanted to do it. So I made a small pivot, which was I went to the community college and I started taking one class at a time until I could, find my way to the university, in which I transferred in eventually into the University of Laverne, where as I was introduced, I earned my bachelor's degree. But my story looked completely different. My life was different at the end of all of this. My life was, I was divorced, but was now a single mother, and I was unemployed. Um, so I had a lot of different challenges, a lot of different new challenges to overcome. But I made another pivot. I persevered. As when we were at the African American graduation ceremony, President Lieberman gathered us all together and she asked us all, if you could think of one word to describe your trajectory here at Laverne, what would it be? And mine was perseverance. And no matter what obstacles came my way, I persevered. And I graduated with honors. I was very proud of myself for that. And then I decided that that wasn't enough for me. I still wanted more. So I went on and earned my master's degree at another university. So whatever you do in life, just as Dr. Matthews was saying, there are going to be failures, there are going to be obstacles, there are going to be challenges, but that's part of the journey. And that's part of what makes life so amazing, is how we can overcome all of these different different things in life, these different things that come our way. And life is short, but it's a wonderful thing when you hang in there, you set those goals, whatever your goals may be, and you move forward. One of the biggest things that, and I'll wrap up from here, but one of the biggest things that happened to me during right after my master's program was that my brother passed away. And my brother was my person. He was my person that I went to when I felt very insecure, when I wasn't sure, which direction to go. He was my person. And unfortunately, he passed away at a young age. So that was devastating to lose him, because he used to always tell me I was the phoenix rising, and I never understood what he meant. And I told him, I'm like, one day he would always say that, and I told him, like, what does that even mean? I'm like, it must mean something good, positive way. So once he explained it to me, it became definitely a term of endearment. So we all have that ability to be, that phoenix rising. Things happen, but you can rise from it and you can move on and become even better and greater, and just learn from whatever happened to you, in whatever has happened to you in life. So that is my story. I'm resetting right now, and I'm gearing up for something new and exciting for my life, for my next adventure. But that is my story, and I'm so honored that you asked me to be here so I could share it with you.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, for sharing your story. It was very, very moving. Hi, everyone. My name is Jasmine Alvarez Barragan, and I serve as a coordinator for the Office of Student Life. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I will now be introducing Erica Murphy. I'm really excited to introduce her. She is a third-year student at the College of Law. She also serves as the assistant to the city manager in the city of Hemet and is a board member for Gateway Career College. Erica, please share with us your story.
Good morning. Last year, I competed in a legal competition. My hands overheated and they wetted with my nervous sweat. My body fidgeted and my voice quaked, but I got through it, nervousness and all. At the end, one of the judges stopped me before exiting the Zoom room, and she said, "It's as if you've been practicing for years." I demurely said thank you, then quickly left the Zoom room to turn off my camera And then I cried, like ugly cried. Now, I want to ask you if you've ever felt like you just didn't measure up. I have, and I do. At 8, I was diagnosed with a rare disease. And after undergoing neurosurgery, the structure of my face and my life changed. All of a sudden, the people at school didn't want to talk to me, and I ended up being invisible from 6th grade until I was a senior in high school. As a result of the lack of human interaction, I retreated into myself. I became incredibly reserved, shy, and socially anxious. I was nervous around groups of people and uncomfortable with loud noises. I wasn't myself. I ended up eliminating every expectation of being wanted by others just so I could get through. And as an adult, that low expectation and social anxiety has lingered and it impacted how I approach everything. I've ended up working 10 times harder and longer than my coworkers. I've been the loud jokester in the room. I've accepted treatment that I didn't deserve, less pay than I deserved, and I've subjected myself to relationships that only hurt me. But I was just feeding a need to be accepted. And these days, I still struggle with doing that, but I'm in a healing process. But what I want to share today is I found power in 2 cliche things that we always hear, but sometimes discount. And one is fake it until you make it. And I say this not in the traditional sense, but in how I've applied it, because no matter how much I've doubted myself or felt unworthy of something, I've never let myself be a hindrance to what I was pursuing. I've always put my goal and what I thought was necessary to move forward in front of me. And I strive towards that. I never in my life thought I'd be sitting at executive tables with mayors or assembly members. And I never thought that I'd be worthy, but I faked it and literally made it to those tables with those people as my colleagues. The second thing I put into practice is manifestation. There's not one thing that I have today that I didn't set my attentions toward and my thoughts. Last fall, I decided that it was time for me to earn more money. And because I consistently worked over 40 hours a week and was always available to my job, I began to assert that 2021 was my 6-figure year. I talked to my loved ones about it, my coworkers, I talked to my family about it, and I told them I'm getting a promotion and I'm going to negotiate my salary. I'm going to have 6 figures next year. And I'd never negotiated my salary before in my life. I just accepted what they'd given me. But just last week, I was offered a job. I was offered a 6-figure salary and didn't negotiate for anything. And can you guys guess what I did? I demurely accepted, and then I quickly went into my car and I cried, like ugly cried. Despite how much I've doubted myself or lacked the degree of confidence that a lot of people think that I have learned that no matter how much you doubt yourself or think people don't like you or want you, you can and still should show up. I want to affirm the listeners today that each of you, the tables that you sit at, the rooms that you're in, the salaries that you're striving for, that you have right now, you belong and you deserve it. Keep pushing, keep striving, and just keep faking it until you know that you're going to be sitting at those tables. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Erica. President Lieberman, I'm looking for mine as well. Just kidding, just kidding. No, I'm not. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Erica. I am Misty Livingston, and I am the Associate Director for Multicultural Services and Black Student Services. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I have the pleasure of introducing my beautiful friend, Dr. Alma Martinez, Associate Professor in the Theater Arts Department. I just want to side note, I love me some Alma. She suggested strongly that I participate in a play, and who knew I could actually act. So thank you, Dr. Martinez, for having me stretch my myself and take a leap into a different arena. So thank you. Take it away.
Well, hello, everybody. First of all, hello, everyone. Thank you so much. And my deep, deep condolences to Stephanie on the loss of her beloved brother. Today's my brother's birthday. And so it really touched home. And again, I honor your brother. I send again, you condolences, but to him, a bright, wonderful light wherever he may be among us. So Anyway, but everybody's, wow, I'm just really just impressed by everybody's story. I am 68, and they say in Spanish, ustedes van de camino, yo vengo de regreso. You are on your way, all of you. I'm on my way back. So I have, on my way back, I've learned a lot, done a lot. I'm not talking about ending my life, ending per se, but about the challenges I faced, and I still see the joy and the brightness and the possibility ahead of me. And I will go to my last day looking for alliances, looking for communication, looking for just a positivity and an acceptance, especially in the academic realm, where I have dedicated my life since 2001. Again, everyone, oh, I didn't put the start watch. I don't want to go over. I'm here in Las Vegas. My dad and my mom are 90 and 91. They're very ill. And I decided to kind of focus on that. That meaning, ladies and gentlemen, is a cycle of life. And it's almost like, especially now, but also yourselves, it's like looking ahead to the cycle that we're all going to go through, where our life is all going to end one day. And what do we want to make of it? What do we want our legacy to be? I'm here again with my parents, and I have to tell you, it's been very emotionally draining. I broke down and cried right now because I'm working with someone, physical therapy and Zoom. I broke down and cried, and I realized how much a part of our history is still in our bodies, is still in our muscle memory. I've been an actor most of my career besides being a professor. So for me, the emotional richness of my past and everyone else's is kind of the gold that we use when we perform. But actually being here with them, it makes me realize that all the good and the painful that I grew up with is still with me. And I think what I'm most proud of is that I was able to take away the good lessons and the not so good lessons from my family. My mother's endurance, her intelligence, her basically being beaten down, not her spirit destroyed, but beaten down by a culture of machismo. I got my strength from her, my perseverance, my very low tolerance for injustice. I have to tell you, a very low tolerance for people who aren't treated fair, who aren't treated equally, especially younger people. Because older people, we don't have a lot to lose, so we can speak up. But so that's what I've learned. And from my dad, what I learned was he was a man who was caught in the world of macho. This is the way he was supposed to behave. The violence is all he knew, his anger, his venting. So I'm coming to terms with all this while I'm here, literally here in the room. They're right here. Mom's in bed sick. Dad is going through chemo. And I guess the positive thing I want to basically leave you with, and I know I have 3 minutes, is yes, that is an important part of our life, but it is not who we are. All of us, we take the good of what our parents gave us and the negative. And all of you, because you're in this room, you've decided that you're going to move forward toward the light, toward the positive, toward the growth. And you're in this room because all of you have taken the time to say, you know what? Mentorship, fellowship. I have to tell you, it's one of the most important things I have. Every Wednesday, I have a Zoom call with a glass of wine with a mentor from Laverne. And she's not a person of color. And she's not someone that normally you would assume would be my mentor. Because it's not about color ultimately, right, everybody? It's about people's soul. When people can read your humanity and not just the color or gender, etc. So the last thing I want to leave you with is life is amazing. Life is so beautiful. The opportunities are there. Yes, there are going to be, again, lack of communication, misunderstandings, these pitfalls. But as other colleagues so eloquently said, your character is defined by how you recover, how you come out of it, and the lessons that you learn. And always come out on the side of light and love. That's all. And I think I'm going to end on that. And Misty, I want to correct you with something. I didn't give you the opportunity to act. I gave you the opportunity for more of the campus to see what a beautiful spirit you are and what a beautiful talent. So you grace the stage, you grace the audience with your acting presence. So it's not all about you, Misty. You did a beautiful job. Thank you, everybody. I'm in the theater department. Anybody ever wants to chat, needs a mentor who's kind of on her way back, please don't hesitate to contact me. I would love to get to know each of you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Dr. Martinez, for being here and just shining your presence on us today. Your parents are very lucky to have you there with them. I have the pleasure of introducing next another alumni, Lauralee Ramani, who actually graduated in spring 2019 with their bachelor's and is here to bless us with her presence, her musical presence. So take it away. We have a quick video for everyone.
I don't think we can hear it quite yet. At least I can't hear it. Is anyone else having problems hearing?
Yes, I can't also, yeah, I can't hear it either.
Well, thanks for letting me share, everyone. This is while Misty does a little troubleshooting, I just wanted to share Pollyanne's story through song. I explain it in the video, so I don't want to take too much time, but thanks for having me here, and I just appreciate everyone's words and whatnot.
I had to unmute. My apologies. Here we go.
Oh,
Can
yes.
you all hear it now?
John Henry. Tells the story of a black man named John Henry who worked the railroad. And the original song, there's a mention in the lyrics of his wife Pollyanne. However, this song in the album Our Native Daughters, kind of spearheaded by Rhiannon Giddens, and tells John Henry's story from Pollyanne's perspective. It really tells her story, actually. Her story, get it? I didn't plan that, I swear. And I want to share a little bit about the song before I play it. So, just to reinforce what I mentioned earlier in the liner notes of this album, which this album was made in 2019 by 4 wonderful all-female black banjo players: Rhiannon Giddens, Amethyst Kaya, Layla McCalla, and Allison Russell. Wonderful album, I really recommend it. But the liner notes, Amethyst Kaya's liner notes say, "Before rushing off to the studio with Dirk, Rhiannon told me and Allie to tell Pollyanne's story. Once again, drawing from Sid Hempfield's John Henry, we wrote lyrics about Pollyanne, about her strength, about her wish to be free from the grip of the physically unforgiving and often thankless job of driving steel on the railroads." And then Allison Russell's liner notes say, "Pollyanne, the real hero of the John Henry legend, was hiding in plain sight all along. John Henry's woman, Pollyanne, wields his hammer for him when he falls ill and drives steel just like a man. Supposedly weaker sex survives the work that kills John Henry, raises babies, and perhaps lives long enough to see their children campaign for civil rights and true freedom in the later 1900s. So I'm so excited to share Pollyanne's story, which is, left out of this part of our history, just like so many instances, just like so many women. So I'm really excited to share my cover of Pollyanne. John Henry had a woman, Pollyanne. John Henry had a woman, Pollyanne. When John was sick, Polly drove steel like a man. When John was sick, Polly drove steel like a man, Lord, like a man. Polly, can you lift that hand? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I can swing it. I can strike it. harder than even can. When Polly had a small baby on her knee, grabbed a hammer and put that. Ain't no one as strong as me. This little hammer killed John. Won't kill me. Won't kill me. This little hammer killed your daddy. Throw it down, we'll be free. Thank you so much for listening and letting me share Pollyanna's story, and also the banjo, which is it's an African instrument and pioneered by Black artists in the U.S., specifically in the South, during and after slave times. And I just want to carry on the artist's work of our Native daughters, these 4 women, in promoting the project of reclaiming the banjo as an African instrument, especially celebrating the women banjo players. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Happy Women's History Month.
Thank you so much for that video, Lorley. I really enjoyed your piece. Thank you for that. Now I would like to introduce ULB alumni Lucy Lam Gurung. She earned both her bachelor's and master's degrees from the University of Laverne. She is in the process of earning her PhD from Claremont Graduate University and is an adjunct faculty for Southern Connecticut State University. Lucy, please share with us your incredible story.
Thank you so much, Jasmine. I'm really honored to be able to listen as well and be able to share my story. So I want to give a big shout out to the Center for Multicultural Services and dedicated staff, of course, for hosting this event. So I feel extremely honored to be able to bring this forward. And just a little bit of background, I'm actually Chinese Ecuadorian. Both my parents migrated from China to Ecuador, like many other immigrant families, in hopes for a better life. And growing up in an immigrant, hardworking family, we have faced many challenges and sometimes continue to face them, especially right now with the hate towards Asian growing across the nation as well, and as well throughout the world. So. And like everybody, we had our dates where we felt defeated and basically sometimes even to the point that we felt worthless, right? I think a big moment where I felt defeated was when I was little, back in Ecuador. Unfortunately, I was molested by a family friend. So that scar I still wear, throughout the years. I've hid it in from a lot of people, but I came to basically not let it define me or put me down. And I think, which is kind of interesting to be able to share this to ULB alumni and other people here listening, is because the turning point and self-discovery in my life happened when I moved to the United States and I started my studies here at the University of Laverne. It's because I had, just like Dr. Martinez said, incredibly caring mentors that I still, to this day, actually keep in touch with them. And I have grown so much. And thanks to that, I really found a voice that I didn't think I had before. So now through this journey in the PhD program at Claremont Graduate University, I continue a career in research and in public health, which I absolutely love. And basically, I've found amazing mentors as well and colleagues that have been a source of empowerment. And the many of us in this path for success among women, it's very particularly harder, even for women of color. It's a very hard path. However, I have come to understand that one may not be able to control all the events that happen to you, but again, not to let it define you or to put you down. So because, just like Dr. Martinez had mentioned, that my mentors don't look like me. They're not anything about your color, your race. It's everything. And I love how she put it. It's all about the soul and that caring to each other, that I think the support and recognitions of just my skills, I really found joy to be mentored. And because of that, I want to give back, and I've been also in the process of mentoring others, because just like when I was, growing up, or maybe looking for that, who am I, or maybe lost, maybe somebody else may need that as well. So, it's been an incredible source of strength in dark times, and I'm pretty sure, like others, I want to also extend my hand and learn from them. So that's pretty much my story, and I really has been very incredible to listen to all of you. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lucy, for your vulnerability and sharing your story in this space among us. So thank you so much, and best of luck as you finish your graduate program as well. I have the opportunity to introduce Emma Garcia, who is doubly major in creative writing and psychology. She's currently a junior and finishing up graduation in spring 2022. So please help me welcome Emma.
Hello. Okay, I'm going to be reading a poem that I wrote in early January. I was inspired by love poems because I was reading love poems at the time, and I was like, I want to write one too. And I was like, who should I write to? And I was like, I should write a love poem to myself, because that's really important to love yourself. And even if some days I'm still uncertain about it, but at the end of the day, I still love myself. So this is a poem that I wrote called Dear Miss Garcia. Dear Miss Garcia, trust me when I say I will not confuse your confidence in the company of narcissism, because when you look at me, I am captivated with your uneasy words of, I love you. Even on nights that run under hot water, I trace the parts of your skin pulled apart along your hips, your breasts, your thighs, with no fear but curiosity that they turn you into a pink bumblebee. Your lead stinger presenting itself at the tips of your fingers, where you believe that each time you write, a part of you dies, the self-worth, the conviction, the reliance, poise. No, stop it. I guarantee that is never true. I listen to your unvaulted thoughts hidden under a white blanket, meeting you new each night. So let me learn who you are over again, a person whose vocabulary of positivity seem to describe you best. So I wonder, why do you cloak yourself with transparency and hide behind the others around you? So step forward, my friend, and present yourself. With much love, Miss Garcia.
Thank you so much, Emma. That was beautiful. I was like, don't get all welled up. That was a beautiful love story to yourself, love poem to yourself. So thank you so much for participating in today and for sharing your words with us. I would now like to introduce Brenda Ash Murphy. Brenda is getting her master's in marketing data analysis and will graduate in 2021. Brenda, take it away.
Hi, everyone. First of all, thank you for having me. So like many others, everyone has a story and everyone has, hard times throughout their life. So my story started when I was really young and I was in the foster system, and then I was adopted. And then after I was adopted, my now adoptive mother, we had a very hectic relationship. And so well, to say the least. So now we move on into, where we're getting close to adulthood, and I wanted to go to college. It was never really pushed on me. I didn't even think it was really an option, but I decided to, apply for the community college because I didn't do what I was supposed to do when it came to like getting really high grades and stuff like that, because I didn't see it as an importance. I didn't see it as something that was important because it was really never taught to me. So then when going to community college, you have to apply for financial aid because if you don't have the money to pay for it. And that made it really difficult because, like I said, my relationship with my mother was very hard. And so during that time, back in 2010, 2011, you couldn't get financial aid without either having your parents' information from the taxes, or unless you were above the age of 25, or unless you had a child. So I was stuck. And that's when I made the difficult decision to join the military. Did I ever think about joining it? No, never. Never thought in a million years like that would be where I was going. But all I knew was that they provided education, and they would provide a bed, and they would provide food, and I would be okay. So I did, and with the mindset of I'm going to go in and I'm going to go to college and it's going to be great. Well, once I joined, my whole world turned around a little bit just because of the fact that I joined with the mindset of going towards, getting a job in the military with the possibility of doing something where I wanted to do later on in life. So like with architecture at the time. Well, that didn't happen. The military, technically, they'll tell you, you could choose your job, but that's not true. They will put you where they need you. So, like Stephanie mentioned earlier, she was a little bit, I'm a little bit too. I'm 5 feet tall, and they made me a police officer. And as a female in the military, as a police officer, it's just difficult. It's so hard. You're expected to carry the same workload and weight in terms of gear and everything as somebody standing next to me who is a man and who's 6'2". So it was just a lot. So I decided that I was going to make the decision to, once my 4 years was up, I'm going to get out. I'm going to go for my degree. And I was so discouraged so many times because everybody was telling me not to. Because you get so used to the military being so comfortable. You get a paycheck every 1st and the 15th. You have, no matter what, you have a job. They can't fire you because you're under contract, So they tell you don't do it because a lot of times veterans end up on the street and homeless. So I was like, no, I'm not listening to you. I'm gonna do it. I've already been through a whole lot of hard stuff, before in my past. So I was like, I'm gonna do it. So I did it, and I got out, and I became homeless for a little bit. And I was just like, you know what? It's still hard, but I feel like looking back at my life, I was like, well, everything else was hard. What's new? So I sat here and I just worked and worked and worked, and I wanted to go back to school, right? So I got back into school, went to Chafee, and then from there, I was a little lost and sad and depressed and everything because I didn't want to be at Chafee. I started at Chafee, and now I felt like I was back exactly where I started, and I had made no movements in life. And then my sister told me, you know what, you should apply to Laverne. And I was like, I don't know, I don't think so. I'm not going to get in. And she pushed me. And she's the only one. She's the only one that went through and actually pushed me towards that goal. So I applied. And I didn't get in. I didn't get in. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't get in. I knew this was going to happen. And you know what she did? She pushed me even more. And she said, appeal it. Write a letter. And I was like, no. The semester is about to start in August. Like, I'm too late. She said, no, just do it. She set up the appointment for me. She set up so I could talk to a counselor. She called them. She did all this. And I was like, if she's doing all this for me, then I need to do my part because I haven't given up on myself yet. So why am I going to start now? So then I applied again, or I appealed it, and I got in. And once I got in, I was so happy, and I said, I'm gonna make good grades. I'm not gonna sit here and do bad. And I applied myself, and I did good grades, and I got my bachelor's degree in business. And then I applied for my master's program at Laverne, and I applied to a couple of programs, and I got a a little cocky because then I got into all of them and I was like, oh my gosh, I knew it. I knew I was worth it. I knew I was good. And I kept going. And at the end of the day, I sit here and think about that because if I didn't have anybody behind me to help push me, and mind you, she's my little sister and she's pushing me and she's done all these great things. And I'm like, I can't even measure up to that. Like, are you kidding me? And yet she's the one that guided me to that decision, to make those choices and to say, like, I'm not going to let anything stop me. So just like Stephanie said earlier, perseverance, like, yeah, I get it because that was me. And now I'm going to graduate in the summer, or yeah, the summer is my last semester. And I just couldn't have did it without her. And I didn't think anything of it until she told me recently, actually, a few months ago, that Brenda, you beat all the odds. You beat all the odds. Everything that could have went wrong, it went wrong, and you still kept going. And so now I look at her like she's my light, or she's my person. And she tells me how great I am. And I'm just like, I can't even imagine. So the people in your life definitely matter. And you just got to keep going. And it's lucky. When you surround yourself with good people, they'll make sure they keep pushing you even when you feel like not working or not stepping anymore. Like, you know? So I really appreciate her, and I really appreciate Laverne because I don't know what I would do without them. Thank you.
Oh my God, Brenda, I don't even know where to begin. Your stories, it definitely hits a spot. Thank you so much for like sharing. But I think if I can define you, like resiliency is definitely the word that comes to mind. Like, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Now I will introduce Dr. Rita Thakor. She serves as our Associate Dean for College of Business and Public Management. She has been with the university since 1978 and is a strong advocate for students. Dr. Rita Thakor, please share with us your empowering story. Dr. Rita, I think you're on mute.
Okay. Am I okay? Can you hear me? Yes? Okay. Thank you. I'm Rita, no Dr. Thakur. I've been Rita all my life, and that's what I am. I strongly, strongly believe that you have to know who you are. You have to know what your things are, what are important in your life, what are your values, and what are you going to fight for? Because that's what really makes life. I came here in 1971. And when I came here, it was very sudden. Went home from another city on Friday night and left Saturday morning. My brother had mental issues, and my safety was in jeopardy. And so I had to leave. And I came over because I had come here before. I didn't have any problem coming in. I went to Northwest Missouri State because that's where where I had gone when I came as an exchange student. I got the admission in my master's program, found a job washing dishes in cafeteria. When I left India, it was 90 degrees. When I came to Missouri, it was 20 below zero. When I left India, I was practicing law. When I came here, I was washing dishes. Everything changed in 2 weeks' time, which was so sudden. You know, one thing I learned is that no matter what you do, you have to have something positive in your life. When you concentrate on something positive, everything else becomes secondary. So I decided that I was going to be a good student and I was going to get all A's in every class I take. I made $75 a month, paid $45 for rent. I had $30 to live in, and that included everything. So you imagine, never bought any new clothes. I was stupid enough to get saris from India and just 3 pair of pants. And that's all I had for next 4 years because that's all I could afford. In summers I worked and I saved money for the tuition. I got my master's. I started going for my PhD, and I was going to go to University of Missouri. Week before I was going to go there, I decided one of my professors took me there to find a place to live, a room somewhere. And I decided to go and visit the head of the department. This is 1972. The head of the department tells me, Rita, you would never get assistantship here because you are a woman. And a woman cannot teach men how to do business. You would never get assistantship because you are a foreigner. And a foreigner cannot teach Americans how to do business. Guess what? I'm not going to go there. Nowhere in the world, because that's not the place for me. And my values tell me you have to fight when there is a discrimination. I was a foreign student. I had 2 weeks to find another place to go because otherwise I'm illegal. I have to have my I-20. My professors really helped me. I got admission at University of Nebraska without filling out the form, and they gave me admission on phone. And I went there and I filled out the form. And that's where I met my husband. Well, to make this big story short, when I came to Laverne, that was my first day at Laverne. And Wednesdays were always the days where we had meetings. My first day, it was department meeting. I was the only woman on the table. And the secretary wasn't there. So the department chair asked me if I would take the minutes. Another discrimination, right? So I had to decide then and there how I'm going to deal with this. Am I going to be treated like a administrative assistant somewhere for the rest of my life here and bring coffee for everyone? Or I'm going to be equal? Or even better, because I was a woman, I was bringing different perspective. I came from a different country. I had different culture, which wasn't present at that time in the university, or at least in my college. And so I decided I'm going to stand up for what I believe in. So my answer was, I'll be happy to take notes today. If he takes it next time, he takes it time after that. And I pointed at the chair and I said, you take time after that. I didn't take the minutes. The minutes were taken by the department chair. And that's what is really important. We have to stand up for what we believe in. And only way we can stand up for what we believe in, we have to know who we are. We have to know what values we have. We need to know what we will fight for. And small fights are not important. But when it comes to bigger issues, you pick your fights and you fight for it. Don't ever let anyone, any women, put you down. Don't ever make anybody think that you can't do this and you can't do that. I had a dean one time who came and, well, we didn't get along quite well, but and I was associate dean. He came and left me a cheat saying, call this person. I was doing hiring for the part-time faculty and talk to him, but don't hire him. He's my friend. I took the cheat, I went back to him and I left it on his desk and I said, Dean, if he's your friend, either you call him or your secretary calls him. I'm not your secretary. I do hiring. I don't do phone calls. And that's how you have to stand up for it. Don't ever give up. And I think my time is up. Thank you so much. I have loved being at Laverne. That's my favorite place. And I'll always remember Laverne. I'm 75 years old, retiring at the end of the semester. Thank you so much.
Thank you
I am
so
so sad to
much.
hear.
Oh, I'm sorry. That I'm opening.
No, thank you so much, Rita, for sharing with us your story. I think, especially as a woman, I think it's very important for us to find that inner voice to stand up for ourselves. And sometimes it's definitely a challenge. And I can only imagine for like the 1970s, like how much of like like an impact or how hard that may have been. But thank you for motivating us to find that inner voice. Now I would like to introduce Sheridan Hall to do a reading for us. Take it away, Sheridan.
Hi, I wrote a poem, so I'm going to. It's called The Girls. For the girls who feel invisible, for the girls who feel small, for the girls who hide their feelings and share nothing at all, for the girls who don't know how perfect they truly are, and for the girls who never believe that in life they'll go far, for the girls who've been hurt by boys, men, or others, the ones who were neglected by their fathers and brothers, for the girls who are hurting but never know why, and for the girls who feel nothing except the urge to cry, for the girls who were touched, no matter how old, but felt too embarrassed, so they never told, for the girls who are scared to express express they feel hollow in a world that solely revolves around a like or a follow, for the girls who feel ugly or who don't like their body and feel they need to change to impress a person who's shoddy, for the girls who are angry or called angry or accused of being bossy when being assertive or direct to the men who are gaudy, for the girls who always smile and act like they're okay when really they're struggling to survive another day, for the girls who are reliable and who everyone depends on, but is alone when desperate to express what she's undergone, for the girls who never credit how strong they truly are and will never realize how high they've set the bar. You girls are the diamonds that are made in the rough, the ones that'll never quit when the going gets tough. You are stronger than you know, the rarest of breeds, a motivation for all the people the world needs. The roses from concrete, the rain in a drought, the only thing one's life could never be without. You encourage us all to do good and be better. You're the reason I know there's no storm I couldn't weather. You are proof of resilience, and I thank you for it, for being my hope for better and my model of grit. You are the sun, the moon, and everything in between. I hope you never drop your crown because you truly are queens. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Queen. I'm feeling real queenly right now. Appreciate you, Sheridan. I'm so like enamored. Like this is just like a boost of just wonderful estrogen energy right now that we're getting from all of these beautiful women sharing their stories. So thank you. Right now, I would like to introduce Maya Lynn. Maya Lynn is a double major in photography and business administration with a concentration in marketing and graduating in 2020 this semester. So Maya Lynn, take it away.
Thank you so much, Misty. It's been great to hear everyone's narrative so far, and I feel so like honored to have been invited to share my story as well. So thank you, Ebony, for inviting me. And as I am a photo major, I am going to be sharing some photos today. It is not letting me like.
Okay, give me 1 second. Oh, go ahead. What were you going to say?
It says share content, but it's not letting me like share my screen. Hold on.
Please hold.
Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay. I haven't used WebEx for this before, so just forgive me if it will. But let's just get started. So, just to give some background, this is just part of my senior project, and this semester I've been having issues with burnout and just general issues with being motivated and just like struggling with mental health and things like that. So my senior project is basically just some visualizations of some feelings or struggles that I've gone through and how I kind of get through them towards the end. And I guess my theme would be overcoming difficulty. So this first photo kind of describes just like the brain fog that you can kind of get in the morning, or just like when you feel like you're not able to do anything, and you're just kind of like stuck in a monotony. And you obviously don't need like mental health issues to relate to all these photos. So that's why I felt like I'd share, because I feel like everyone can just have moments like these, or just have a bad day. So this is my second picture, and this is just more of like a visualization of like when you are having a bad day and you're having feelings about yourself, either like just because of something small, like, you know, like you unmuted yourself in the Zoom meeting by accident. You're, oh my God, like that was so stupid. I can't believe I did that. And just for me in particular, these feelings that I have in this photo relate more to like my burnout and just struggling to feel creative just because of it being my last semester. And you know, sometimes like, you know, when you're at the finish line, you can get exhausted. So that's just kind of what that's about. And this photo demonstrates art block, so just more of those feelings of not being able to create and just being in that like gray space and not feeling like you're able to start something. And it's kind of like a visual joke because I'm sitting on a Rubik's Cube, so art block. And so this photo is a collage, and if you've ever felt like you have like the weight of the world on your shoulders, I tried to demonstrate that here with this collage, and just kind of feeling like everything's coming in on you, and like things that normally you would enjoy or things that wouldn't cause you stress are starting to cause you stress, or you feel like you can't enjoy the things you used to do. And so like for me, that kind of just like is taking in that feeling and feeling like, you know, like why do I feel like the things that I would enjoy before, like flowers, and not literally flowers, but you know, it's a metaphor, um, stuff like that, just feeling like it's surrounding me, and like, you know, why am I feeling that way? And this sort of is related to that as well. And towards the latter part of my senior project, you get to see that with these visual representations of like flowers that like I chose flowers because, you know, when you're struggling, um, Misty, were you not able to see the other photos that I was going through?
No.
Was it still just on the first one?
It's still on the first slide, yeah.
It is on the top. You can change.
Yes.
Everybody can change, and you can see all the pictures.
Uh-huh.
There's numbers 1 to viewing, and if you
Right.
go back, yeah, and if you go on, you can see all the pictures.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Rita.
Okay.
Do you see
Sorry
that,
about
Maya
that.
Lynn?
For me, I had been going through that. It said viewing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so I thought it was showing them.
Okay,
But,
I'll do it for you. Let's do it again.
you can just kind of quickly go through them until we get to the one I was talking about before. Yeah, so you can just stop here. Sorry about that. I thought it was going on my side for some reason. Again, I haven't used WebEx for this kind of thing before, just Zoom. So for this photo that I'm talking about in particular, with the flowers over my face, it kind of just represents like me coming out of like that previous mood and like feeling like I can grow out of that. And with the photo before this one with like the stickers all over my face, if you've ever like had a really bad day and someone's like told you, oh, like I can see that all over your face, you know, like that's kind of demonstrating that. And this is me moving on from that previous feeling and feeling like I can move on from this, and like internally like I am growing, and it's showing on the outside as well. Next slide, please. And this is another photo similar to the last one, and it's showing like sort of like a healing like representation of like me forgiving myself for feeling how I used to, and with the one pink flower on my neck and my throat, it's sort of just representing like me being able to speak out and like forgive myself for how I felt before. Next photo, please. And previously, earlier in the slide, there was a collage similar to this one. So this is just kind of me like opening my eyes and like being able to get back to like how I was feeling before. Next slide, please. And then this is the conclusion. So like with the first few photos, the photo with like the umbrella, for example, this would be like the ending. So this is like my personal affirmations that I say to myself. So like with the sun, tomorrow is always a new day, and like the sun doesn't need permission to shine. So like neither do you, or like neither do I. And just other positive affirmations I tell myself. So that's it.
Thank you so much for showing us your photo presentation of your senior project. I love the ending of just some positive affirmations. I think that we all need that in our lives. So thank you so much for ending with that one. Now I have the opportunity of introducing our last speaker of today's Her Stories event. Sarah Morales is a senior social science major and is interested in sociology, psychology, and political science. She's heavily involved on campus. She currently is a peer mentor in the First Generation program, an Interfaith Fellow, and an Inclusive Wellbeing Fellow, and currently holds the position of ASULV President. So please help me welcome Sarah Morales.
Thank you so much. Sorry, Cindy, if I knew you were going to read it, I wouldn't have made it so long. I thought it was going to be printed somewhere, but thank you. And everybody, it has been really wonderful listening to your stories. I've been on an emotional roller coaster for the last hour, and it just really has been like what I needed this week. And so thank you. My story is about finding my voice, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. I grew up surrounded by strong, smart, successful women who were driven and had high hopes and goals. Their downfall, more specifically, was toxic partners and relationships, but more generally was emotional instability. I saw strong women turn submissive, voiceless, hopeless, depressed, and anxious because their own human and personal value depended on the opinion of others whose only goal was to tear down and control the powerful woman that they had in their hands. I always had an icky feeling about what I was watching when I was growing up, and I didn't know what to put on it until I was old enough to understand that these relationships were not healthy and these people were not healthy. I had the benefit and the intellect to learn from what I saw without having to relive it. If I was going to make it through life and benefit from the opportunities I had, living at home, not having to work long hours and getting an education, I needed to love myself and discover who I truly am. I needed emotional intelligence and stability to know that how people treated me was rarely a reflection of me, but a greater reflection of those people. And if I ever saw red flags, that meant I needed to get out of there fast. These toxic partners were also a part of my life, and I was able to avoid judgment for a very long time, doing as I was told, never asking questions or standing up for myself, never defending others, and generally just being a good little soldier. I was a people pleaser. I said what other people wanted to hear. I did what other people wanted me to do. But eventually, as you know, no matter how good you are, toxic people need control, power, and manipulation, and the sword of doubt and shame and guilt was pointed towards me eventually. I grew depressed, anxious, withdrawn, and I was extremely lonely because those whose job it was to protect me were suffering my same fate or were the ones hurting me. I reached a point where I realized I would be a shell of who I am, or I would need to break through walls on my own, hopefully able to shine the light I was chasing down onto others who needed it too. I grew tired of not feeling good enough, tired of being blamed or disregarded, tired of living the life others were telling me to live. Again, being able to learn by watching, I decided to do what the others weren't strong enough to do. I would demand respect or cut off those who wouldn't give it to me. I would no longer lie and change the story to protect the ego and reputation of those who were hurting me. Why did they deserve to be protected from the consequences of their own actions and I didn't deserve to be protected? Truth is, they did not deserve it. My human value and purpose is not to protect bad guys from themselves. It's to live a good life that gives me purpose and happiness. When people made wrong assumptions, I corrected them. When people offered ill-informed and unwarranted advice, I informed them. When people reminded me there was a hierarchy of family relationships to be respected, I reminded them that respect goes both ways and it must always be earned. It was lonely at times, but a different kind of lonely than I had experienced before. The kind of lonely when you're driving in your car by yourself, but going to a place that you really want to go. I was I was lonely, but no longer guilty or shameful. Eventually, people learned that I was stubborn and grounded in my ways and stopped trying to change me into the submissive and easy to change person they wanted me to be. The journey has not been perfect or easy, but I now have reached an age and time where those beautiful, strong women thank me for my strength, maturity, level-headedness, my drive, my passion, and the way that I view life. I found my voice because it was the only way I knew I could survive, and no one else would find it for me, and I never regret it. I was able to see the unhealthy patterns in my family and my life and decided that those patterns end with me. They will not be passed sideways to my friends or loved ones or peers, and they will not be passed down to future generations. I will only ever empower those around me to find their voice, live their truth, and reach their potential. Thank you.
Sarah, thank you so much. That was so heartfelt. I think, well, I know I've had a toxic partner, I think, and toxic people in my life. So what I take from your story is that we'll be okay. Just keep going, keep persevering, and keep uplifting, and eventually, we can work through this. So thank you so much. Can we give all of our attendees and our participants or all of our, panelists a round of applause for sharing their stories? We heard a lot of personal narratives that really shows us that our ULV campus community, we got some dope women in our campus community. Our campus community is amazing, and our campus community is just awesome. So I love being a part of ULV. Thank you so much. Before we end, we have one last video from Laura Lee, but I want to thank the committee of Hulisa, Ebony, Norma, Jasmine, Cindy, and myself for putting this together, and all of our presenters. You all are just amazing. And thank you all for the attendees that came to hear these stories. Also, shameless plug, please stay tuned for our April calendar of events where we will be celebrating our LGBTQ plus ULV campus community with Gapril. The reason why we do Gapril in April is because June is technically Pride Month. However, we're not in school, so we need to make sure that we celebrate all of our campus constituents. And so let me load Laura Lee's video, and I thank you all for coming. I apologize if it's low. Like I said, my WebEx knowledge is not the best. I tried.
Misty, another idea I had is if the sound is really funky, I can always perform it live. I think that might be better. I don't know.
I would prefer that. Let's do it.
Okay, I think you'll hear it. I think you'll hear it much better. Online is real tough. Okay, so I have this guy here. This song is called "Beautiful to Me," and I wrote it for a friend of mine a couple years ago. And so today I'm singing it to everyone here in our lovely panel and all the attendees. Yeah, it really affirms everyone's narratives and stories about trusting yourself and trusting your voice. So I hope you enjoy. The candles are burned out, but you still shine. My heart beats like yours, and we are strong. Oh, listen to your heart and soul. Listen to your feet. You know the way, yeah. And you're beautiful to me. Make a wish, hold on tight, and you will be alright. Oh, my love, don't you see? I'll be there for you and for me. Oh, listen to your heart and soul. Oh, listen to your feet. You know the way, yeah, and you're beautiful to me. You carry the world on your back, on your back. Yeah, you carry the world on your back. Set it in the grass at last. Oh, listen to your heart and soul. Oh, listen to your feet. You know the way, yeah. And you're beautiful too. Thank you so much for letting me share. Happy Herstories.
Yes, thank you all. So this ends our event. Lauralee, thank you so much. That was beautiful. Thank you everyone for coming. We appreciate you. Peace and blessings. And it feels like Friday, but it's just Wednesday. What is it? Thursday, Wednesday? I can't remember. It's Wednesday. So, right. I hope this uplifted you and gave you the strength to persevere throughout this week. And peace and blessings.